Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the life of one of history's most formidable figures, Genghis Khan. Forget the myths for a moment. We're going to explore the incredible story of the man who rose from a childhood of brutal hardship to unite the scattered Mongol tribes and build the largest land empire the world has ever seen. This is a tale of survival, strategy, and a legacy that reshapes the globe. Let's start at the very beginning. Around the year 1162, in the rugged, windswept plains of Mongolia, a boy named Temujin was born. His life was anything but easy. His father, Yasuge, was a minor chieftain, but his influence wasn't enough to protect his family. When Temujin was just a young boy, maybe 9 or 10 years old, his father was poisoned by a rival tribe. Suddenly, everything fell apart. His clan, seeing no value in a widow and her young children, abandoned them. Temujin, his mother Holin, and his siblings were cast out to fend for themselves on the harsh steppe. They faced starvation, freezing winters, and constant threats from other tribes. They were at the absolute bottom of the social ladder. It was during these formative years of struggle that Temujin learned his first and most important lessons. His mother Holin was a force of nature. She taught him about survival, the importance of unbreakable loyalty, and the necessity of alliances. He learned to hunt, to fight, and most importantly, to lead. These brutal early years forged him into a resilient and determined young man, earning him respect among his peers and a fearsome reputation among his enemies. He wasn't just surviving, he was learning, observing, and biding his time. This crucible of hardship wasn't just a sad backstory, it was the training ground for a future emperor. So, how does a boy who was an outcast and a refugee become the ruler of the world? It's a story of incredible determination and strategic genius. As Temujin grew into a man, he began to gather followers. He started small, using his charisma and his reputation as a skilled warrior. He understood something fundamental about the Mongol tribes. They were constantly at war with each other, caught in a cycle of raids and revenge. This disunity made them vulnerable. Temujin's vision was different. He dreamed of a united Mongol nation. He achieved this not just through brute force, but with a masterful blend of military conquest, clever diplomacy, and strategic alliances. He would form blood brotherhoods, known as Anda, with other powerful figures. He married into influential families to secure political ties. When diplomacy failed, his military prowess was undeniable. He systematically defeated rival tribes like the Karaid, the Naiman, and the Merkata, very tribe that had once kidnapped his wife, Bert. Each victory brought more warriors and more clans under his banner. His approach to leadership was revolutionary. Unlike other chieftains who favored their own relatives, Temujin promoted people based on skill and loyalty, not bloodline. This meritocracy attracted the best and brightest to his side. He broke up the old tribal structures, reorganizing his army and his people into new units that were loyal to him alone, not to their old clan leaders. This was a critical step in creating a unified identity. The culmination of this decades-long effort came in 1206. A great council, or Kurultai, was called, gathering all the leaders of the steppe. It was there that they officially recognized Temujin as their supreme leader. They bestowed upon him the title Genghis Khan, which translates to universal ruler. The boy who was once an outcast was now the undisputed king of all the people of the felt-walled tents. With the Mongol tribes united behind him for the first time in history, Genghis Khan turned his gaze outward. The world was about to change forever. With the Mongol tribes united, Genghis Khan unleashed a military machine unlike anything the world had ever seen. His campaigns were defined by terrifying speed, brilliant strategy, and ruthless efficiency. How did they do it? First, the Mongol army was entirely cavalry. Every soldier had multiple horses, allowing them to cover vast distances at incredible speeds, often traveling up to 60 miles a day. This gave them the element of surprise, appearing where they were least expected. Their command structure was decentralized, yet incredibly disciplined. They used a sophisticated system of messengers, spies, and scouts to gather intelligence on their enemies. Before ever engaging in battle, Genghis Khan knew the terrain, the enemy's strength, and their leadership's weaknesses. He was a master of psychological warfare, often offering cities a chance to surrender peacefully. If they did, they were typically spared and incorporated into the empire. But if they resisted, the consequences were devastating. This reputation for utter destruction often caused the next city in their path to surrender without a fight. The Mongols were also quick learners. When they encountered fortified cities, something they weren't used to on the open steppe, they didn't just give up. They captured engineers from the lands they conquered and became experts in siege warfare. They built and used massive catapults, trebuchets, and other siege engines to smash through city walls. Their military tactics were a fusion of traditional steppe warfare and the most advanced technology of the time. Some of their most famous campaigns highlight this brutal effectiveness. From 1211, they began their long and grueling war against the powerful Jin dynasty in northern China, eventually conquering their capital. Between 1219 and 1221, they completely dismantled the wealthy Khwarezmid Empire in Central Asia. The story goes that this invasion was sparked when the Shah of Khwarezmia executed Mongol envoys, a grave insult Genghis Khan could not ignore. The resulting campaign was one of the most destructive in history, leaving entire regions depopulated. Later, his generals would push into Eastern Europe, shattering the armies of the Kiev and Rus. Genghis Khan's military was more than just an army. It was an unstoppable force of nature that redrew the map of Asia and Europe. Genghis Khan died in 1227 during a campaign, but his death was not the end of his story. In fact, it was just the beginning of his empire's greatest expansion. He left behind a vast, unified domain and a clear line of succession. His sons and grandsons, like Ogedei Monkey and the famous Kublai Khan, continued his mission of conquest. They pushed the empire's borders even further, eventually creating the largest contiguous land empire in history. At its peak, the Mongol Empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the heart of Europe, from Siberia down to the Himalayas. But the legacy of the Mongols is more complex than just conquest and destruction. The period of Mongol rule is often called the Pax Mongolica, or Mongol Peace. By controlling such a vast territory, under a single administration, the Mongols made travel and trade safer than it had been in centuries. They revitalized the ancient Silk Road, the network of trade routes connecting East and West. This didn't just mean goods, like silk and spices, were exchanged. It also meant a massive transfer of ideas, technologies, and cultures. Gunpowder, the compass, and printing technology all made their way from China to Europe during this time. The Mongols themselves were surprisingly tolerant of different religions and cultures within their empire. As long as their subjects were obedient and paid their taxes, they were generally free to practice their own faiths, whether they were Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, or anything else. Genghis Khan himself promoted people based on merit, not ethnicity or religion, creating a surprisingly cosmopolitan and efficient administration. So, while the initial conquests were undeniably brutal, the long-term impact of the Mongol Empire was a world that was more connected. Genghis Khan's legacy is a paradox. He was a ruthless conqueror who was also a unifying leader, a brilliant military strategist, and the architect of an empire that facilitated unprecedented global exchange. His life is a powerful reminder of how a single individual, forged in hardship, can rise to change the course of human history.